On November 5th, 2025, the global scientific community was shaken when the Virtual Telescope Project released two new images of the interstellar object 3I Atlas. And what these images revealed forced astronomers to reconsider everything they thought they understood. Atlas appeared as a compact, stable source of light, with no sign of a cometary tail, and not even a faint coma, something any ordinary comet should naturally develop as it approaches the Sunday. Even more astonishing, Atlas's shape has remained virtually unchanged since it was first captured by the Hubble Space Telescope in July 2025. According to calculations by Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, given the intense heating it experienced near the Sun, Atlas should have lost at least 13% of its total mass, equivalent to more than 5.5 billion tons of material expelled into space. And with such a colossal mass loss, a bright, massive cloud of gas and dust should be surrounding it, easily visible even through ground-based telescopes. Yet the reality is the complete opposite. Atlas remains clean, compact, and mysteriously silent, displaying behavior that defies conventional physics. In the same set of frames captured by the Virtual Telescope Project, scientists unintentionally obtained a perfect point of comparison. Right beside Atlas appears Comet Lemon, a familiar comet from within our solar system, displaying exactly what physics predicts. Lemon presents a clear, bright tail stretching outward, always pointing away from the Sun due to solar radiation pressure, which pushes heated gas and dust outward like a powerful plume. Atlas, in stark contrast, remains unnaturally silent. No tail, no coma, no visible traces of expelled material. If Lemon represents the behavior of a normal, natural comet, then Atlas is breaking every rule that comets are supposed to follow. And this leads to the first fundamental question. How can an object lose billions of tons of material without producing any observable optical signature? A scientific paradox has begun to unfold, and it is only the beginning. On October 29th, precisely at the moment of its closest approach to the Sun, the point known as perihelion Atlas began exhibiting behavior that no gravitational model can account for. Precise measurements from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, revealed that Atlas is accelerating in a way that cannot be explained by gravity alone. The report showed that Atlas's actual position is 4 arcseconds away from where it should be, according to standard gravitational calculations. It may sound small, but at a distance of 203 million kilometers from the Sun, this deviation equals 80,000 kilometers over the span of just 1 month. According to the data, Atlas is accelerating at approximately 0.02 millimeters per square second, consisting of two separate components. 135 kilometers per day squared, pushing away from the Sun, resulting in roughly 60,000 kilometers per month, and BESS, 60 kilometers per day squared, laterally, producing an additional 27,000 kilometers of sideways displacement. In other words, Atlas is not simply drifting in a single direction. It appears to be moving under the influence of a controlled, multi-directional force, rather than the chaotic, natural outgassing expected from a comet. And before anyone begins to panic, this acceleration is not sending Atlas toward Earth. Its altered trajectory remains stable, projected toward Jupiter in March 2026. For comets, non-gravitational acceleration usually has a straightforward natural explanation: outgassing. When ice and volatile materials on a comet's surface are heated by the Sun, they vaporize violently like tiny rocket engines, creating thrust strong enough to alter the comet's trajectory. This is a well-understood and commonly observed behavior across thousands of comets. But Atlas is challenging this entire mechanism. Based on the measured acceleration, Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb calculated using basic dynamics equations that to produce enough thrust to cause an 80,000 kilometer deviation in 1 month, Atlas would need to eject at least 5.5 billion tons of gas and dust during its passage near the Sunday. With a total estimated mass of 33 billion tons, that means at least 1/6 of its entire structure would need to vaporize. Here lies the problem. Such an immense loss of mass would produce an enormous and brilliantly visible cloud of gas and dust, easily detectable not only by ground-based telescopes but unequivocally by the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope, the most advanced instruments humanity has ever built. Yet the latest images show no such cloud, no coma, no tail, no dust, nothing. This leads to a paradox that cannot be ignored. Either the acceleration data is wrong, or the outgassing explanation is completely invalid. And if the natural explanation collapses, we are forced to confront a far larger question. What else could be generating the force propelling Atlas? Within the scientific community, the appearance of Atlas has ignited a heated debate. Some researchers have attempted to defend conventional explanations by suggesting that the observational data might simply be wrong. But Dr. Avi Loeb rejected that notion with a fundamental principle of scientific integrity. You cannot dismiss data just because you don't have a theory that fits it. What makes this situation even more serious is that we have witnessed this pattern before. The first interstellar object ever detected, Oumuamua, also exhibited non-gravitational acceleration without showing any signs of gas or dust being expelled. The Spitzer Space Telescope, highly sensitive to thermal emissions and particulate traces, failed to detect any form of outgassing whatsoever, even at the faintest levels. Scientists were forced to label it a dark comet, a term that is practically self-contradictory, since the defining feature of a comet is the bright tail created by evaporating material. But Atlas goes far beyond Oumuamua. It not only shows unexplained acceleration, it also displays a series of behaviors never before observed in any natural object in recorded astronomical history. At this point, the story transitions from scientific anomaly to a mystery that challenges the foundations of modern physics. Atlas is not just challenging physical models with its non-gravitational acceleration. It presents 9 independent anomalies, each of which would already be unusual on its own, but together, they make the probability of Atlas being a natural comet almost zero. Each anomaly strikes directly at the core principles of astronomy. First, anomaly, the impossible trajectory. Atlas is traveling along a path aligned within just 5 degrees of the ecliptic plane, where all planets orbit the Sunday. An object arriving from interstellar space should come from any random direction in 3-dimensional space, like a ball thrown from far away that could approach from above, below, or any side. The probability of arriving so perfectly aligned with the planetary plane is only 0.2%. Second anomaly, a jet pointed toward the Sunday. During July and August 2025, Atlas was observed emitting a jet of material directly toward the sun, something never seen before. Solar radiation should always push material away, forming tails that point opposite the Sunday. This behavior is as impossible as someone running against the wind, but their hair blowing forward. Third anomaly, too big and too fast. Atlas is 1 million times more massive than Oumuamua and 1,000 times larger than Comet Borisov, yet it moves faster than similar interstellar objects, directly contradicting the rule that larger bodies travel slower due to stronger gravitational influence from their origin system. Fourth anomaly, perfect timing. Atlas passed with precise timing near Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, yet remained invisible from Earth at the most critical moment perihelion, when observation would be paramount. The odds of such alignment are rarer than winning the lottery. Fifth anomaly, industrial-like metallic composition. Spectral analysis shows Atlas contains far more nickel than iron, a ratio typical of engineered metal alloys, not natural comets, which contain random, mixed proportions of elements like a cosmic soup. Sixth anomaly, drier than a desert. Instead of the usual 80–90% water ice found in comets, Atlas has only 4% resembling a solid rock block rather than a dirty snowball. Seventh anomaly, impossible light polarization. The polarization signature of Atlas does not match any known natural object, including Comet Borisov, whose interstellar composition is well documented. Polarization is like a fingerprint of light, and Atlas's fingerprint does not exist in nature. Eighth anomaly, connection to the 1977 WOW signal. Atlas arrives from the same direction as the famous WOW signal, the strongest unexplained radio signal ever detected, believed by some to be the best candidate for extraterrestrial communication. Ninth anomaly, hotter than our star. Near perihelion, Atlas appeared bluer than the Sun, implying it emits light from an internal energy source hotter than the Sun's 5,800 Kelvin surface temperature. Natural cold bodies cannot glow blue, they glow red. When combined, these 9 anomalies form one extraordinary conclusion. Atlas is not behaving like a natural object. It resembles something engineered, something designed with purpose. All the unanswered questions surrounding Atlas are now heading toward an unavoidable moment of verification. Between late November 2025 and late January 2026, a global observation campaign will take place. The Hubble Space Telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope, and dozens of ground-based observatories will continuously monitor Atlas with unprecedented resolution. The most critical date on the timeline is December 19th, 2025, when Atlas reaches its closest approach to Earth at a distance of just 167 million miles. This will be the moment when any cloud of material corresponding to the 5.5 billion tons of lost gas and dust would appear unmistakably bright and undeniable. If that massive cloud exists, the telescopes will detect it instantly. But if it does not, if no material cloud is found, if the sky remains silent and clean, then the natural explanation collapses completely. And at that point, science will be forced to confront the only remaining possibility. Atlas is being propelled by a technology beyond anything we currently understand. The field of astronomy now stands on the edge of a historic turning point. Atlas may become the greatest milestone in humanity's understanding of its place in the universe since the discovery that Earth is not the center of the cosmos. And in just a matter of weeks, every hypothesis, from the most conservative to the most daring, will be forced to confront the truth emerging from observational data. If the most powerful instruments ever built by human hands fail to detect the 5.5 billion tons of missing material, then we will no longer be able to rely on traditional explanations. At that moment, the line separating science from the possibility of extraterrestrial technology will dissolve. We may be standing at the threshold of witnessing the first artificial object from another civilization, equipped with propulsion systems far beyond anything known to modern physics. The countdown has already begun, and very soon, we will learn whether humanity is truly alone in the universe or not.